Welcome to Training Industry Quarterly Electronic Magazine, Spring 2012 edition podcast of the article, Engaging Senior Leaders in the Learning and Development Process, by Wendy Brooks. Looking at the title for this article, you may ask a few questions. Why would senior leaders care about the learning and development process? What is different about senior leaders? Should all leaders be interested in learning and in the process? The idea of involving leaders, especially at senior levels, in learning has been around for a long time and has never really taken hold in a widespread, systemic way. So why would anything be different now? However, before considering these questions, it is important to focus on the L&D process itself and to pose some challenges to those professionals who seek to engage senior leaders with it. These are the right challenges to pose for an L&D process anyway, but they come more to the fore when senior leaders are engaged. The test of the L&D process becomes the extent to which senior leaders see its value and are willing to commit time and effort. The key question becomes, what characteristics of an L&D process will engage senior leaders? Putting the who into strategy. Most businesses of all sizes and across all sectors have started 2012 knowing that it is likely to be a more challenging world than last year. They need to develop ever more demanding strategies to deal not only with the pace of change, but the direction and often unpredictability of change. As never before in a globally interdependent world, organizations have to be agile and responsive to macro trends and factors beyond their control, at the same time as seeking to shape their destinies through intentional strategic moves. Yet, at its very core, success in executing strategy requires having the right capability and capacity of people. Many factors contribute to the ability of an organization to ensure it has the right capability and capacity at the right time. But one of the fastest and most powerful levers to achieve this is an L&D process, which is strategically aligned. So, strategic alignment is the essential starting point for the L&D process. This means that the learning professionals leading this process must be informed about their sector and competitors, understand their own organization, its major strategic options, choices, and risks, be able to capitalize in their unique and pivotal position so that they interpret their strategic and commercial insights into a specific and practical assessment of people capability and capacity. They are using information which is often hosted in different parts of the organization to which they need to add value through analysis and interpretation. Base the L&D planning and investment strategy on this explicit analysis. Engage senior leaders proactively at the outset of the process to gain their buy-in and provide the basis for their active involvement in reporting results later in the process. This starting point principle applies at the macro level of planning and prioritizing the L&D portfolio, as well as repeating itself again at the level of individual projects and priorities. Output-based process with the ability to report results. At the other end of the L&D process is reporting results in a way which is meaningful to the broader business and its leaders. In effect, the learning function producing its own profit and loss and balance sheet. When the results and added value are unclear, it is largely because the starting point in the process does not provide the basis for being able to report results. Results, which are reported in line with business cycles and aligned with major strategic initiatives, are most likely to gain the attention of senior leaders. For example, supported the new market entry strategy through development of people capability capacity, which contributed to speed to market and instilling project management disciplines. The value of the L&D investment can then be attributed to speed of developing new customer relationships, customer delivery metrics, for example, quality and efficiency, maintenance of profit margins. Beneath this are the specific L&D activities, which enabled sufficient people to work with confidence to deliver this strategic imperative. By involving senior leaders at the planning phase, they are more likely to work with learning specialists to agree the attribution of value and results. Engaging senior leaders at the outset and the output of the learning and development process is the basis for their willingness to commit to a role at interim stages in the process. However, this means that the leaders of L&D need to be confident and capable in how they engage leaders around issues, and those leaders themselves need to find the engagement experience valuable. A consistent and differentiated customer experience. As senior leaders build their own experience of interacting with the L&D process, their longer-term engagement will be massively impacted by consistency and differentiation in working with L&D professionals. Consistency around the principles previously outlined is the most likely way to secure senior-level engagement. But why should differentiation matter? Surely this is an internal process and activity. However, for senior leaders in particular, the competition for time and attention is real. So it is a worthwhile challenge to ask, how can engaging with L&D become universally acknowledged as a valuable way for senior leaders to spend their time? Learning and development professionals need to define the experience that they will deliver to senior leaders at every touch point of the process, and be prepared to report and measure their senior customer feedback. Practical methods of engaging senior leaders. The sequence of these practical methods is deliberate. One builds another, taking the concept of consistency and differentiation through to practical tactics and techniques. Create a people perspective on strategic priorities. Facilitate a board, senior leader discussion around specific strategic priorities to draw out the implications for leaders, managers, and their teams. In particular, draw out how much this may require new knowledge and skills, expansion of current working practices, and what risk may materialize and lead to a shortfall in performance. A part of the discussion may also be how experienced the organization is and what is its track record on such strategic initiatives. The L&D team needs to be experienced and confident to facilitate this dialogue with the board, and indeed, if they are tracking results of L&D investment, point to the past strategic initiatives that have been more successful through L&D investment. Create a clear and specific vision for senior leaders about the difference they can make in the L&D process. Senior leaders are not always clear about what they can do, and they surprisingly underestimate the difference they make. However, the power of senior leaders being committed champions of investing in the whole L&D process at the portfolio level, as well as being powerful advocates for specific initiatives, is transformative. When the CEO of a major manufacturing plant said of a leadership development program, "This has made more impact on the business, been more widespread, and created faster value than investing in capital equipment," he was a champion, not just for the program, but for the value that learning as a whole creates, and his words reverberated around the organization for years to come. Roadmaps and moments of truth. Hardly surprising, senior leaders are not necessarily well informed about the precise progress through a L&D process. By creating a simple yet compelling roadmap with flagged moments of truth, senior leaders can be engaged against a clear context and be judicious about how they commit their time. This avoids the senior leader showing up for the traditional launch, celebration dinner, and creates many more opportunities for informed engagement. For example, the roadmap of leading and lagging indicators could include the moment when the first evidence of changing relationships between managers and their teams is showing benefits, as a step toward improving retention and higher customer feedback scores. An even earlier indicator is when the first stories start to emerge of enhanced confidence amongst managers and pride in their work. If senior leaders have a clear picture of this predictive roadmap, they can be totally engaged in the moments of truth. It also means that they are more likely to assist in removing blockages to progress if they were first brought into the overall process, which becomes another moment of truth for senior leaders. A clear governance process for managing senior-level engagement. L&D professionals need to provide clear, practical standards for senior-level engagement around role of the program sponsor, involvement in project or program governance, role of mentor and expert advisor, cross-project best practice so that senior leaders can have a perspective about how peers are operating, contribution to knowledge management, and embedding L&D. The longer-term prize here is building a culture of learning and one in which it is the norm for senior leaders to be engaged. Engaging hearts and emotions is clearly key. Senior leaders can convey powerful commitment through their very position in the organization, but it is important that this becomes part of a systematic process, which is designed, led, and managed by learning teams. Finally, lighten up and take some risks. Senior leadership engagement could include inviting them to take risks, do something out of the ordinary, and be human. Because of its very nature, the L&D process can open up such opportunities. more than some other core processes in the organization, for example, audit or quality assurance. This is highly specific to each organization, but a measure of engagement with senior leaders is the extent to which they trust the process and feel able to innovate, take risks, and create personal connections. Returning to our opening challenge, the boards and senior leaders of organizations that succeed will be distinguished by having people capability and capacity to operate in this world and take advantage of the opportunities. There are few faster and more cost-effective ways to put the who into strategy than through effective and systematic L&D process with integrated senior leader engagement. Wendy Brooks is the Director of Global Solutions at Hemsley Fraser. Takeaways. Learning teams can engage senior leaders in learning and development by inspiring confidence that they are strategic and commercial, sharing the same focus around measurement, and reporting results that are expected of senior leaders themselves, setting out to deliver a differentiated experience for senior leaders, creating practical, clear methods of engagement that tracks and reports the benefits of senior leadership engagement to reinforce the long-term rewards. You've been listening to Engaging Senior Leaders in the Learning and Development Process by Wendy Brooks. For more articles and podcasts like this, log on to www.trainingindustry.com. Thanks for listening. I'm Amanda Longo.